Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry to interrupt the conversation, but I want to use the last part of our lunch for our luncheon keynote speaker. I think we've had an excellent morning. Thank you to all the presenters. Thank you again to the Vice Minister for being here, and may I say, this is a moment for me to say, for all the staff, I think from the Korean Embassy, from KEI, from the Department of State, and from the hotel, who have put this all together. I think we saw from this morning, it's a really packed program, and so we packed the lunch as well, including with a rather large lunch, but I hope everyone enjoyed it. And it's now my great pleasure to introduce my colleague, my former colleague and great friend, Marc Knapper, the Acting Deputy Assistant Secretary of State for East Asian and Pacific Affairs, with particular responsibility for Japan and Korea. Did I get that right? I used to work in that office. Marc is a career diplomat, a career American diplomat, foreign service officer, and he is, without exaggeration, one of the leading Asia experts, particularly Japan and China experts, in the U.S. government. He's also one of our leading linguists. My Korean colleagues were noting at the table that he once won a very highly prized award at the State Department called Linguist of the Year. But I'm not sure which language he won it for, because he speaks excellent Korean, Japanese, and Vietnamese. Which one was it? All of the above? Korean. Korean! 축하합니다. So he's going to be giving his speech in Korean today. No, it's your choice. Marc has made me promise I wouldn't read his bio, and I said I didn't do that this morning for our other guests, and I won't do it for him. But we are very lucky to have him at this important time back here in Washington. His most recent overseas assignment was in Seoul. He was the Deputy Chief of Mission there, and then with the beginning of the new administration, became the Chargé d'Affaires, the acting ambassador, and was that until quite recently when Ambassador Harris. So very important time of transition in the relationship. We were very, very fortunate to have Marc Knapper's leadership there, and now doubly fortunate that he's back here to continue to work on these issues. I actually first met Marc not working on Korea or Japan, but on India. And I wanted to highlight that because I appreciate that we had some mention of India, more than some mention this morning. Marc was director of the India desk, which is a very big desk, 2014, 2015, at a time when I was in Delhi, and we were working on, if you like, a reset of that very important U.S.-India relationship. So he's well qualified, I think, not just by virtue of the position he holds now, but by his vast experience, including experience in Vietnam, to talk about some of the issues that we are looking at today, that we looked at this morning and we will this afternoon. So I think without further ado, you can read more details about Marc's background in our program. I will ask the Deputy Assistant Secretary to give us his talk. Yeah, 축하합니다. 감사합니다.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. Ambassador Stevens, thank you very much for that generous, I'd say overly generous introduction. I wish my mom were here to hear that. She might have believed you. But really, thank you so much, everybody, for coming today. Thank you, Ambassador Stevens. Thank you, KEI. Thank you, MOFA, for putting together this very timely and important event. It's always very humbling. It's always a huge honor to share the room with so many people who devote so much time and energy to strengthening our two countries' relationship. And so I would just say thank you to all of you for what you do every day in support of our alliance and our two countries' ties. As many of you know, this year marks the 65th anniversary of the U.S. Republic of Korea alliance. An alliance we believe is the linchpin of security, prosperity, and peace in the Indo-Pacific region. And thanks to this alliance, thanks to organizations like KEI, our two countries' relationship has grown beyond just a security relationship, but also to encompass shared economic, political, and cultural values. Our two nations are stronger and more prosperous as a result of the core principles for which we stand. The U.S.-ROK alliance confers not just collective security on our two great republics, but also contributes to the security and prosperity of the region and the world. Our alliance has guaranteed stability and has promoted prosperity in the Indo-Pacific for more than 6 decades. This alliance is more than just a partnership or a friendship. We're a family, and our two countries share a kinship that has lasted for decades and stands ready to thrive for decades to come. Now, today, the vibrant trade and economic relations our two countries enjoy are rooted in an international order that is rules-based and that is equitable in treatment for all, and that is endless in opportunity for those who follow it. Economic miracles throughout the Indo-Pacific region, including in the Republic of Korea, could not have happened without the institutions upon which we base our actions and through which we work every day. Our two countries, the United States and the Republic of Korea, share the belief that we must conduct our business free of coercion or intimidation. We believe in the importance of maintaining free and open sea lanes, transparent infrastructure financing practices, unimpeded commerce, and the peaceful resolution of disputes. All of these things, we believe, are central to the region's future peace and prosperity. Our two nations seek to enhance the security of our partners in a free and open Indo-Pacific and assist them in developing their economies and their societies in ways that promote both human dignity and shared values. Tomorrow's Senior Economic Dialogue, at which Vice Minister Lee Tae-ho is leading the Korean delegation. This Senior Economic Dialogue is the third such meeting between our two countries, and we believe it is so important because it will continue to lay the foundation for an even more prosperous and thriving relationship between the United States and the Republic of Korea. And we thank our Korean government colleagues, Korean embassy colleagues, for their enthusiastic participation in tomorrow's dialogue. And I would also just echo what my colleague David Feith, who was here earlier on this panel, said about our strategy, our vision for a free and open Indo-Pacific, and where it complements Korea's own new Southern policy. We believe that there is a lot of overlap, a lot of great things our two countries can do together by putting our heads together and figuring out how these two policies, these two visions can complement each other. Now, given our two countries' already vibrant economic ties, it is no surprise that if you look at South Korea's investment in the United States, South Korea is the #2 largest Asian investor in the U.S. Korean firms have invested more than $40 billion in the United States, which supports over 52,000 good American jobs, for which we are grateful and for which we are counting on even more investment in the years to come. And by the same token, U.S. exports to the Republic of Korea support over 350,000 American jobs, another really startling and important figure and a real testament to the importance our two countries' trade and economic ties mean to our two nations and our two peoples. And in fact, I think brochures that were handed out from the East-West Center can go into more detail about our two countries and what we gain from each other. Now, in the previous panel, one of the questions that came up was about assistance in the health security realm. Essentially, what can KOICA, what can the Korean government do to promote health security in Southeast Asia? And this is really an important and I think very unique area for the United States and Korea to be able to work together. Our two countries have found excellent ways in which to cooperate. One previous example was in 2014. You may recall the outbreak of Ebola in West Africa. Korea was one of the first countries to put its hand up and send military medical doctors to fight the outbreak, standing side by side with colleagues from the United States and many other nations. Subsequently, In 2014, the United States hosted the first meeting of the Global Health Security Agenda. In 2015, Korea was the second nation to host this important gathering. And to this day, both the United States and Korea remain important, very active participants in this global effort to build health security infrastructure among countries around the world. And so, really, just two examples of what the U.S. and South Korea are already doing together to promote health security, and another great example of how our two countries' vision for the Indo-Pacific can complement and support one another. Of course, our people-to-people and our cultural ties are extremely important. Today, we are very proud that we have over 1 million Americans of Korean descent here in the United States. We also have over 2 million Koreans who either visit, work, or live here on an annual basis. And there are over 200,000 Americans who do the same in South Korea. In terms of our educational ties, Korea remains the third largest source of foreign students here in the United States, with more than 50,000. And this makes Korea actually, per capita, the largest source of foreign students in the United States, something we're very proud of. Going in the other direction, I think we have about 5,000 American students in the Republic of Korea. I wish it were 50,000. I wish we could get more American students in the Republic of Korea, and it's something that we and the Korean government work very hard on to try and figure out how to bring more young people to each other's countries. So, given these people-to-people ties, I mean, we believe that it's our people-to-people ties that are the foundation for everything our two countries do together. Whether it's in the security realm, whether it's in trade and investment and economics, whether it's in science and technology cooperation, cultural exchanges, sports, the arts, you name it. It's our people-to-people ties that make the foundation for everything our two countries do. And so the more bridge building that we can do, the more bridge building that organizations like KEI can do, frankly, the better. This is a very, very important aspect, and often unsung aspect of our two countries' relationship. So I encourage all of you here who are in a position to help, do think about ways that bridges, people-to-people bridges between our two countries can be even strengthened further. So, for nearly 70 years, the U.S. ROK alliance has brought peace and stability to this region, and it has created prosperity for both of our peoples. We benefit from the fact that our values are in sync with each other. We benefit from the fact that our shared democratic and economic principles remain resolute. We benefit from the fact that our people-to-people ties are closer now than ever before. And thanks to this convergence of these many, many factors, these many, many strengths, we believe that the opportunities for building continued prosperity between the Republic of Korea and the United States are greater than ever before. They're boundless, in fact. So by taking advantage of today's gathering, by taking advantage of tomorrow's senior economic dialogue between our two governments, we firmly believe that both of our nations can strengthen even further our two countries' economic partnership. And we firmly believe that we should not miss the opportunity to recommit ourselves to strengthening our close bonds of kinship that we have forged over nearly 7 decades of our two countries' friendship and alliance. Thank you very, very much.
Marc, thank you very much. I think we have a few moments break. We haven't had much of that today, but I think we're going to, Troy, gather again at 1:45. But let's start promptly at 1:45 since we have a very packed afternoon as well. But my thanks again to the Deputy Assistant Secretary for his remarks. My continued thanks to everyone else, in particular the Vice Minister. And we wish you well in the SED tomorrow as well. That's a great complementary of events. So let's take a break for a few moments, and we'll see you back here seated to begin at 1:45.